Well, European debt fears are front and centre in investors' minds this Monday. We've heard a lot from the politicians and from protesters, but Greek businesses have also been dealing with the increased scrutiny of their country's financial affairs. John Defterios joins us once again from Athens. John, you were talking about the private sector and the public sector, all finger pointing at each other. We've heard a lot from the public sector in a way, particularly on the streets. What about the private sector?
Yeah, in fact, Charles, it's a great point, because during this entire austerity plan, we really haven't heard from the leading Greek industrialists. So we wanted to invite one to share his thoughts on the road forward. Let's welcome Evangelos ΜΥΤΙΛΗΝΑΙΟS. He's the chairman of the group that uses his name, ΜΥΤΙΛΗΝΑΙΟS Holdings. It's an energy group, infrastructure group, and mining group. It's nice to have you on CNN. What I'd like to jump into here is that we talk about the divisions between the private sector and the public sector. The public sector feeling, even though there's a quarter of the workforce, that they're asked to sacrifice too much in terms of pensions. Realistically, what can be done to move forward to bridge this gap between the two?
Now, all we have to say about this gap at this moment of time is that the private sector is counting almost 1 million unemployed. But in the public sector, by virtue of the constitutional right, there has been not one layoff. So far, it's the private sector that has to pay the bill.
In terms of realistically now going forward, can this government deliver on 30,000 furloughed workers, 20% pension cuts, 40% pension cuts for those who retired before the age of 55? Will they deliver what they promised?
John, what is at stake here is the very survival of the Greek modern state. Doesn't matter what, the Greek government has to deliver. The Greek society has to deliver. It's a matter of survival. It's not a matter of luxury here.
Yeah, but one would say you're in an austerity trap. You have a debt of 150% of GDP, unemployment at a record 16%. Is it realistic now to say it's a foregone conclusion that a 50% haircut needs to be done?
I don't want to make any comment about the haircut. That's in the hands of bankers and politicians. All I know is that what we have to do, whatever it takes, we must do.
And that is a realist speaking here, because you don't want to get into a political debate. But can this government carry a burden like that and not grow, contracting at 7% a quarter?
At some stage, when the economy stabilizes, growth will come back. But now, there are priorities. And the priority at the moment is to materialize the agreement of 21st July. This is what we have to do now. Now, if there is another debate over time about a massive haircut and a ring-fenced South European periphery and so on, this is another thing. What we have to do now is deliver what you have to deliver.
Yeah, the final thing I wanted to talk to you about, we had a discussion 5 months ago about privatizations and a target of 5 billion euros this year, 50 billion over the next 4 years. Nothing so far. So this is a big black hole in terms of austerity.
I agree with you, John, and we are all getting a little bit desperate about that. Privatizations will have to go ahead. There are limits, there are time limits. We have to do things. We hope that finally, even at the last minute, we will start.
Okay. Thanks very much for your analysis on that. Evangelos ΜΥΤΙΛΗΝΑΙΟS, chairman of the holding company that bears his name, one of the leaders in terms of energy, mining, and infrastructure, and in fact, a company that's grown during the recession by looking outside of the Greek market. Charles, back to you.